Amateur Radio News and Notes for Friday, July 25th, 2025. I'm Ed Kavik, November 2, Echo Charlie. In the log this week, we'll be telling you that Amateur Radio News and Notes is going to be going on vacation next week, so we're going to give you a whole bunch of stuff to tide you over for the week. We'll be talking about a contest spotlight on the RSGB Islands on the Air or IOTA contest. Another contest spotlight on the Adventure Radio Flight of the Bumblebees. And yet another contest spotlight on the North American QSO Party on CW. Also, we'll be talking about the upcoming Berryville Hamfest happening next weekend. Also, some MVARC Nets on the air. See what's happening with DX. Get a solar activity update. Talk about some upcoming contests. And, as always, take a look at interesting online radio content. Amateur Radio News and Notes will be on a break next week for some summer fun. To tide you over, we've got DX and contest information for the next couple of weeks, and we'll be back to our regular schedule on August 8th, 2025. The Radio Society of Great Britain, or RSGB, is hosting this year's Islands on the Air, or IOTA contest, at 1200 UTC July 26th to Sunday, July 27th at 1200 UTC. The IOTA program tracks contacts to islands from all around the world and is active all the time. But since this is the weekend for the contest, there'll be a whole lot of islands on the air for you to contact. In fact, check out our What's Happening with DX section for some examples of that. For the contest, the 80-meter, 40-meter, 20-meter, 15-meter, and 10-meter bands will be in play. As always, IOTA has a lot of rules, so check out the rules at the RSGB site. The exchange for the island chasers is RST and serial number, starting from number 1. For the island stations will be RST serial number and IOTA reference. For scoring, island chasers get 2 points for each QSO with another chaser and 15 points for each island station. The multipliers are the total number of IOTA references contacted on each band on CW, plus the total contacted on single sideband. The total score is QSO points multiplied by total multipliers. Full rules and details can be found in the show notes. Good luck. Sunday, July 27th, 2025, the Adventure Radio Society will be hosting this year's Flight of the Bumblebees from 1700 to 2100 UTC. This is a fun contest focused on QRP, or low-powered CW operations, with stations in the field. The Bumblebee stations are the stations who are out in the field, and they sign with a /BB and are assigned a Bumblebee number. Everyone else works from home and tries to work the Bumblebees. The maximum power output is 5 watts. That's that QRP thing for both Bumblebees and home stations. And the bands operate are 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, 15 meters, and 10 meters around the standard QRP frequencies. The exchange for Bumblebees is RST in state, province, or country, and their Bumblebee number. And the home stations, it is RST, state, province, and country, and the power in watts. You can work each Bumblebee station or home station once per band. Scores are calculated as the total number of contacts multiplied by the number of Bumblebees multiplied by 3. Many Bumblebees will be running SOTA and POTA stations while in the contest too. For more information about the contest, how to get a Bumblebee number, and the rules, visit the link in the show notes. Good luck. The North American QSO Party on CW is happening again for the first full weekend in August, which is 1800 UTC August 2nd to 559 UTC August 3rd this year. The objective of the NAQP is to work as many North American stations as possible during the contest period. For the purposes of the contest, that includes North American DXCC entities plus Hawaii. There are entry classifications for single operator, where no spotting networks are allowed, single operator assisted, which does allow spotting networks, including self-spotting, and multi-operator to transmitter. For this running of the NAQP, it will be CW only, with bands of 160 meters, 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, 15 meters, and 10 meters. The exchange is operator name, and state, province, or country for North America, or no location for DX. The same name must be used throughout the contest, and multipliers are all 50 states plus DC and the 13 Canadian provinces or territories. Other North American entities just use their DXCC entity name. Stations can be worked once per band, and scores are total valid contacts multiplied by the number of multipliers on each band. Full rules and details can be found at the link in the show notes. Good luck. On Sunday, August 3rd, 2025, the Shenandoah Valley Amateur Radio Club will be hosting the 74th annual Berryville Hamfest. The Mount Vernon Amateur Radio Club has a table once again this year, and the grand prize is a Yaesu FT710 transceiver at the Hamfest. In addition to lots of vendors and tailgaters, they'll be having the ARRL Roanoke Division Convention, a barbecue beef and chicken dinner, and an ice cream truck. Gates will open at 6 a.m. and admission is $10, as are the tailgate spots. It's always a fun trip, so if you're close by, give them a visit and make sure to swing by the MVARC table in the Rurton building. For more information, go to svarc.us/Hamfest. And now it's time to talk about some MVARC Nets on the air. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., we have our 2-meter FM net, which is immediately followed by our 2-meter digital net on Yaesu System Fusion C4 FM on the same frequency. Also on the weekends, we've got our MVARC Slow Speed CW Roundtable on Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 a.m. on 3.565 megahertz CW, where we'll go as slow as you need to be comfortable, usually about 12 to 15 words a minute. And the MVARC Cherry Tree Net is also on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time at 3.920 megahertz lower sideband, where the conversation's always lively and you are always welcome. Now let's talk about what's happening with DX. There will be a good amount of DX on the bands in the next 2 weeks, especially with this weekend's IOTA contest. Stations on the air will include Tyree Island in Scotland, Thailand, Aquidneck Island, the Isle of Man, Benbecula Island, Shuin Dwiveland Island, Cotajuba Island, Rodriguez Island, Tangier Island, Fuerte Island, Bermuda, St. Kitts Island, Mayotte, Greenland, Nicaragua, Tarawa, Kiribati, Kuwait, and Antarctica. As always, a calendar of DXpeditions can be found at dxnews.com/calendar. And now it's time for a solar activity update. As we go to press, the solar flux index was 156 and the estimated sunspot number was 85, with 10 numbered sunspot regions visible from Earth. Over the last week, the SFI has stayed the same. Solar activity has been at low levels recently, and the geomagnetic field was unsettled to active levels, and the KP index reached 4 yesterday. The solar wind peaked at 818 kilometers per second, and solar activity is predicted to be at quiet to active levels today, and at quiet levels on Saturday, and at quiet to minor storm levels on Sunday. The chance of solar radiation storms at the S1 or greater level is low at 1%. R1 to R2 radio blackouts are possible in the near term, with a predicted probability of 30%, and R3 or greater level blackouts are less likely, with a 5% chance predicted. There's a chance of 6-meter propagation, so keep an eye on the band and spotting clusters to be ready for the next time the Magic Band does its thing. HF conditions have been favorable overall, and it remains a fantastic time for amateurs to get on the air and work the world. Good sources of real-time information include Space Weather Live and solarham.com. A good overview of conditions can be found at dx.qsl.net/propagation. To see daily or absorption data and associated radio blackouts, go to the NOAA D-Region Absorption Predictions page, or DRAP page. And to see real-time maximum usable frequency, or MUF, and critical frequency FOF2 information from Radioson data, visit prop.kc2g.com. And now it's time to talk about some upcoming contests. On the contest calendar this weekend is the FRAPR 10-meter contest, the RSGB IOTA contest we talked about before, the ARAM 50 megahertz contest, the Alabama QSO party, and that ARS flight of the Bumblebees you should get into. Also, next weekend brings the 1010 International Summer Contest on single sideband, the European HF Championships, the North American QSO Party on CW, the ARRL 222 megahertz and up distance contest, the HEMIS VHF contest on 144 megahertz, and the SARL HF phone contest. As always, the K1USN SSTs, the MSTs, and the CWTs will be on the air, and the full contest calendar with events and exchanges can be found at contestcalendar.com. And now, let's close things out with some interesting online radio content. Steve, KM9G, activates SOTA with a 25-foot whip. Mark, KD7DTS, and RIN6ARA talk to Devin, W6DVN, about microwave SOTA for sofas on the air. Hayden, VK7HH, talks about what handbands worked best for which uses. The Oxford Shortwave Log talks about the Shortwave Bulletin newsletter. Linus, Lima Yankee 2 Hotel, uses his IC705 Go bag in the field. Josh, KI6NAZ, and Adam, K6ARK, take Josh's kids out for an Eastern Sierras adventure. Mike, K8MRD, reviews a 100-watt PD power bank. El Marie, KJ5LXP, uses Echolink to connect to distant repeater over the internet and RF. Matt, M0DQW, takes a look at the new Hydra SDR RF1 software-defined radio. Kevin, W1DED, talks to the contest crew about their experiences in the IARU HF Championships. Mark, KD7DTS, and RN6ARA use the QMX to activate SOTA and show Ara's new paddle mount. Steve, KM9G, takes a look at the new VRN 7600 mobile rig. Mike, K8MRD, tests out the ATAS 120A on 40 meters. George, VK2AOE, gives his 12 rules for hams to aspire toward. Liddy, KQ3Q, receives ISS SSTV signals using an Anytone 878. Dugbo, KD7DUG, activates SOTA and shows why 2 is 1 and 1 is none in the field. Hayden, VK7HH, talks about a threat to the 70-centimeter ham band from a proposed satellite service. Steve, KM9G, gets his mind blown by the Radio Berry. Kevin, 2E0 Whiskey Mike Golf, does QRP contesting from a boat, and Matt, M0DQW, shows how to fix an issue with the amp on an Hack RF Portapack. D, KO6BTM, builds a Morcerino 32, and finally, Kevin, 2E0 Whiskey Mike Golf, plays in the IARU HF Championships from an island. That's it for this week and next week. I've been Ed, November 2, Echo Charlie. Thanks, as always, for being with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and until then, I hope you have a great fortnight ahead of you. Best 73. We'll see you in 2 weeks.